Hello there, and welcome back to another live. I'm your host, Shadana Miranda, the Influential Petite. I am a transformational coach, and I'm excited for you to be here. My mission is to help inspire women to live a life of passion and purpose so that they experience a sense of self fulfillment. And as I always tell people, I'm always on a journey of self fulfillment. Today, we're going to be talking about keeping up your game plan. Last week we talked about implementing a game plan for the new year and how to put that in place and start your new year's resolution off really good. So today we're going to be talking about keeping up that game plan. So I'm not going live by myself. I actually have a colleague that's going to be joining me in a minute. Her name is Ashley Janae. But in the meantime, I would like to know where you're tuning in from. So go ahead and put something in the chat about where you're tuning in from. And we're going to wait for Miss Ashley Janae. If you're catching a replay, thank you for joining. My name is Shadana Miranda, and I'm a transformational coach. So while we wait for Ashley, I do want to tell you that I have a workshop coming up called how to unlock the 3 keys and get clarity over your life and have so much potential and just really walk in your purpose. And it's a free masterclass. It's going to be this Wednesday at, oh, there's Ashley. This Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I will put the link in the comments. I'm just waiting for her. But in the meantime, tell me where you're tuning in from. Hey, Ashley.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Good to see you.
Sorry, I'm in my grocery shopping attire, so I got my sweatshirt and all
Okay.
that stuff.
Well, no worries. You still look good. You still look good. So, yes, I was just telling our viewers we're going to be talking about keeping up with your game plan for the new year. Last week we talked about implementing a game plan. Every year we always set these New Year's resolutions and we have themes for the new year. And so today we're going to be talking about keeping up with it because we know we fall off sometimes after a week, after a month, after 2 weeks. It's always something, right? So we're going to talk about how to keep up with it. So I'm going to let you kick it off today because I always get it jump started. But I'm going to let you kick it off today and kind of play on what you have to say.
Yeah, most definitely. So, as you mentioned, we are talking about, just keeping the momentum going because it's all fun and games when you set the goals, but it's like, okay, how do you keep them, weeks and, well, days, weeks and months down the line? So I know personally for me, I have a few things that I do. So I am going to share those with you guys. It might be more than 3. So, sometimes I like to throw bonuses in there, but we'll just go ahead and kick it
We
off.
like bonuses.
What'd you say?
I said we like bonuses.
Yeah. So, all right. So the first up for number one, I have basically just make a schedule because a lot of times we kind of stop at the goal and we're like, yeah, I want to get this thing done, but then you don't really sit down and actually make tangible, like a tangible schedule that you can stick to. That's going to be realistic for your day to day plan. So if you go to work on 9 to 5, or if you go to school, or you have kids, family, whatever, how can you maneuver your current schedule around to fit the things that you do want to get accomplished? So that requires a schedule, and that requires sticking to that schedule as much as you can. So in order to actually stick to that schedule, number 2 is going to be use your phone. Like, your phone is literally like a mini assistant in your hand. But I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the dopamine that we get from scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or whatever. Like, even sometimes I'll find myself like clicking on Facebook or then clicking on YouTube and then just like randomly just kind of aimlessly scrolling. But most recently, in order to kind of stick to my goals and my schedule, I've set timers. Like, you can actually set timers on how long you can be on certain apps. So that's something you can keep in mind. You can also set personal timers for the day-to-day schedule that you created for yourself. So, like, for example, if you want to give yourself an hour to read or an hour to focus on your business or your brand or whatever, set your timer on your phone for an hour and say, okay, for this 1 hour, I'm going to focus on this thing. Turn the TV off, turn off the distractions, and get focused on that. And then one of my favorite things that I like to use, I know everybody is not an iPhone user, but this tip is for the iPhone users. I'm sure Android probably has something similar, but anyways, there's the bedtime mode that you can use on your iPhone. Basically, like you can set your day-to-day sleep schedule, and the phone will remind you maybe like 30 minutes prior to your bedtime. So the phone will remind you and say, hey, it's time for you to start winding down for the day. And then it'll automatically turn your phone on do not disturb. And then from there, you can set like nice calming tunes to wake you up in the morning versus like a loud kind of blaring noise. So I absolutely love that sleep timer, and it also kind of tracks your sleep as well, and to help you kind of get set in a schedule, so that way you know from day to day, okay, this is the time of the day that I need to start winding down. Because a lot of times we get caught up in like, oh, I want to have this amazing morning routine, but if you don't have a good night routine, your morning routine is useless. Because I know for me, I am not a morning person, so I have to set myself up in the evening in order to get to that point. Okay. And then I think there was one more thing. Oh, so the last thing with using your phone is like have productivity apps versus the apps that kind of drain your time. Like, for example, I recently started downloading apps that help me learn different languages. So those, and also like other apps that can like remind you of certain things. Like you have certain apps out there that will send you affirmations throughout the day or send you motivation or things like that. So focus on how you can use your phone to keep you productive. And lastly on the list is to develop a reward system for when you stick to your goals. So basically, you have a list of goals and you have your schedule set in place, and let's just say you were able to stick to your goals for the whole week. Okay, what can you give yourself at the end of the week that would reward you for doing a good job? And that for me personally makes me want to keep going. So number one, we have create a daily schedule. So have your goal in place, create the schedule from a day-to-day basis on how you can reach that goal daily or weekly or monthly. And then use your phone to your advantage. Use the things like timers, your bedtime mode, productivity apps, and then also, that was my bonus. I just looked at my notes and realized it. So on your phone, every time you pick it up, and I think there was some type of study that I was listening to or watching or something, and they say we pick up our phone over 100 times a day. So, because of that, I have set my home screen to have affirmations on my home screen. So that way, every time I pick it up, I'm reminded of those affirmations. And it reminds me to say, hey, let me at least just say one of these affirmations, or let me remind myself that I am this thing. So, those were my tips.
Those are some really good tips. Thank you, Ashley. So I kind of somewhat piggyback off of what you were talking about. You were talking about having a schedule. So I believe to keep up your momentum in the new year, it's good to have a timeline. So have a timeline of things that you want to get accomplished. So you know in the new year, you set your New Year's goals, your resolutions, whether that's to start a business, whether that's to lose weight. But you have to set a timeline of 30, 60, or 90 days to get these things accomplished, because a timeline is going to give you a clear vision, and a timeline is going to hold you accountable. And without accountability, you're not going to get those things accomplished. So that's number one. And speaking of accountability, that leads me into my next tip. Tip number two is find an accountability partner. It is so important that you do not rely on yourself to just get your goals accomplished. Find someone who can be like a mentor, find a friend or a colleague who's a like-minded person. They may be on the same path as you or something slightly different, but find that partner who can really help you out, because y'all can have virtual sessions together maybe once every other week for 45 minutes to an hour, bounce ideas off of each other's, and really get innovative about how you can accomplish these goals. So make sure you have an accountability partner. Sometimes we need those people in life to hold us accountable, because it's things that we want to do, but we know you really can't live in this world without community. So you need a community of people. You need that one person holding you accountable. My third thing is, what did I want to say? Check in on your goals. So when we set goals, it's important that you check in on them to see um, how you're going to get these goals done. So, for instance, let's say you may have a goal of maybe building your social media influence. And so you are posting videos, you're posting content on social media every week, but you need to know how your engagement is. So maybe every week, every 30 days, check the analytics. You have to check in on your goals to see if you're actually accomplishing them. So just a recap, I hope that helps. Just a recap. Develop a timeline for your goals for this year. 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, depending on how large the goal is. If it's a big goal, set 1 year. Once you develop that timeline, get you an accountability partner to hold you accountable to make sure that you are going to get those things done. So get you a pace partner, right? And the third thing is check in every now and then. Check in on your goals and see how you're doing to see if you're actually making progress, right? Because what is it to set a goal and not really check in on it, right? You want to make sure that you're making progress. So those are my 3 tips for building momentum and well keeping your momentum going for the new year. It's so important that we keep ourselves motivated because the new year is just a fresh start. It's new beginnings. You're turning over a new leaf, and everybody's excited about the new year. But we know that within 30 days, it's like people fall off. It's like, okay, well, what happened? Within 2 weeks, you just get down, you lose your momentum, life happens, stress, work, family, anything. But you have to make sure that you are in line with your goals and what you're trying to get accomplished. Because guess what? You're going to be scrolling through the gram and all of your friends on Instagram and Facebook, you're going to see them checking off their goals. They're in Paris. They're doing this. They just bought a new car. And then you not doing anything, you're going to feel some type of way. You're going to get in that comparison trap. Your mood is going to be down. You can go into a depression stage or just anything. We don't want that. So we want to encourage you to make sure that you're keeping up with your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my spiel. Anything you have to say, Ashley?
Yeah, I think that we offer some really great insight on, kind of developing that timeline and then having that schedule set in place. But I guess one thing that will put a little bow on top of that present we just gave everybody is to just remember your why. I think that's one of the main things that kind of help you keep going in the midst of the distractions, in the midst of the busyness of our day-to-day life. It's just like, why did I set this goal in the first place? Like, why did I get clear and say that I want this thing? And when you're honest with yourself about that why, and you're passionate about that why, there's nothing that can stop you.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's important.
Yeah.
I discovered having a why is so important maybe about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote it down on a piece of paper what my why was, and I sit it next to my bed.
Yeah.
So that way, before I get into bed, I can see it often. Even when I'm, having a bad day before I go to sleep, I understand I still have a lot of work to do, but I have to keep going because I want to accomplish that why.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually a good, tidbit, Ashley, what you said.
Yeah.
This was good. Before I let you go, I do want to announce something. I am hosting a free masterclass this Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the 3 Keys on how to go from confused to having clarity over your life. And so if you're interested, I would love for you to sign up for that masterclass. I will put the link in the description and below. And this masterclass will be ongoing every Wednesday, but definitely sign up. It's a free masterclass and it's called, how to go from confused to having clarity.
Nice.
So I'll put that information in the description and I'm really excited about it.
Cool. And you said it's Wednesday at what time?
Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you're going to drop some nuggets in that. So.
Yes. So yeah, I'm excited. So make sure you follow myself and Ashley. You can follow me at Influential Petite on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll put my website in the description below. And Ashley, how can they find you?
Yeah, you can just find me by going to my website, which is fablife31.com, and I'll put that in the comments as well.
Okay, sounds good. So thank you for tuning in. We are live every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're catching a replay, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you follow us, send us a DM, or reach out if you want our services. We're both coaches. So we just appreciate you showing up.
Yes, this was great. Stick to those schedules and remember your why, y'all.
Remember your why. There you have it. That's a good way to close off. So we'll see you next
All right,
time.
bye.
Bye.